this number represents a huge opportunity. It's an opportunity for you to grow your user base. And together, we're going to uncover ways in which you can capitalize on this opportunity. I'm Ben, and I'm looking forward to the next few minutes with you. This week, you will be talking to your colleagues, to the people in the audience, and you will listen to many presentations about very important topics that are impactful in driving performance. These are the topics such as creative best practices and the privacy changes, and obviously generative AI. But what I want to discuss with you today are topics that are below the surface. They tend to be less sexy, but when it comes to the impact that they can have on the performance that you look for, I believe that they are equally, if not more important. And so my hope is that after I walk off the stage today, you will be a more knowledgeable marketer, understanding what's going on behind the scenes. And so what we're talking about is an opportunity on the open internet. And so let's look at what the open internet means. We're all familiar with walled gardens, the proprietary inventory that they have, and the rules and regulations. The open internet, in contrast, is a different beast. It's a web of millions of apps. We at Moloco are connected to these millions of apps via 40+ exchanges. And those apps are on 6.7 billion devices. And these devices are responsible for more than 600 billion bid requests each day. Huge opportunity. Now, when most people think about what the open internet ecosystem looks like, they have a following picture in mind. They think about traffic moving from the supply side, your left, to demand side, your right. And typically, it's end users engaging with ads in the publisher app. Then there are the mediation solutions that are responsible for increasing publisher revenue and ensuring high fill rates. There's exchanges which are aggregating demand via running open auctions. And there's ad platforms which are participating in these auctions. And then there's you, the advertisers, that are hoping to acquire these new users. Now, while this is an accurate depiction of the players in this ecosystem, it fails to understand and depict the complexity. The reality is very different. It's much more complex. It's even more complex than we tried to depict on this diagram. And what you are faced with as an advertiser is extreme inefficiencies, which could have a detrimental impact on your return on ad spend. Let me explain. We at Moloco receive, for one impression, which passes through an average of 3 or more exchanges, 12, on average, 12 bid requests, and sometimes up to 40 different bid requests. Now, what that means is we have duplication in the market, which might lead to you, as an advertiser, bidding against yourself. And the question is, why does that exist? And I want to share with you that there's incentives at play, whereby the sell side tries to, as we said, increase publisher revenue. And so the fact that you're potentially inflating bid prices because you're competing with yourself is not necessarily a bad thing for the sell side. And duplication is also created by many and multiple intermediaries, which are taking cuts along the way. So the dollar that you are willing to spend gets decreased along the route of reaching the traffic that you and the outcomes that you're looking to drive. Now, the question is, how do you deal with this mess? How do you make sense? And why should you bother? Well, we said there's a huge opportunity here. And so the only way to deal with this mess and this complexity is by using advanced machine learning. Advanced machine learning has the task of answering 3 questions in the blink of an eye, because we're talking about auctions that happen in near real time. So 3 things need to be answered. The first is which advertiser and which creative to choose to send into the auction. The second is which path to choose, which bid request to respond to. And the third is what to pay, what to bid. Now, these are no trivial tasks, let alone in the blink of an eye to answer these questions. Because in order to answer those questions, you need to understand what the potential value of this impression is to each of the potential advertisers. You need to understand what the rendering capabilities are of each of the SDKs that these exchanges have deployed. And you also need to know the different fee structures that vary from exchange to exchange. And when it comes to price, we have now moved from a second price auction to a first price auction. And what that means is that in the past, when you could only be concerned with whatever the maximum is you're willing to pay, and that depends on the value that you associated with that impression that is auctioned out. Because in a second price auction, you only have to pay the second highest bid price. In a first price auction world, you need to be concerned and try to figure out what the second highest bidder is about to pay. Because in a first price auction, whatever bid you enter into the auction is the price you'll have to pay. And so what you need to understand and figure out is what is the thinnest possible margin that I can pay above the second price. As you can imagine, these are no easy tasks to complete, especially not, as I said, in the blink of an eye. Let's zoom in on these exchanges. We wanted to try and find out what the value is of different exchanges and the inventory. And so we looked at our top 6 exchanges, which represent about 70% of the impressions that we see, are exposed to. And what we find is that there's only about 1% that is unique to a specific exchange. And what that means is that there is no such thing as exclusive inventory. We have access to all of the world's inventory on the open internet. And that is not to say that an SDK network doesn't have limited reach or inventory, but that reach and that inventory is also available via other exchanges. And so if that is true, if it's not about the inventory, then it's all about how to make sense of the inventory, how to make the best decisions on the inventory that is available. Now, we spoke about the complexity of the ecosystem and duplication. And today, we are adding another path, which arguably could add to the complexity, but I'll show you why it's actually beneficial. I'm officially announcing the Moloco SDK for publishers right now. Yes? And what that looks like is the following. What this means is we are creating a direct path for you to the publisher, or more direct path for you to the publisher app. And we're doing it in a unique Moloco way, whereby we're not creating a new business line and we're not charging publishers. And what that means for you, the advertiser, is intermediaries and the costs that are associated with those are being reduced, which we hope will lead to better performance. And better performance will lead to increased spend. And as a result, publishers are going to earn more money. And the third thing that is unique about how we think about our SDK is we mentioned earlier that machine learning figures out the best path. And this holds true even if we add our SDK. We're not going to force traffic to the SDK. We're going to let the machine make decisions and choose the best path that will lead to the outcomes that you desire in the most cost-effective way, be that via our SDK or any other path that is available. Now remember I showed you that counter? I've been talking for a bit over 10 minutes, and in that time, Moloco has received and processed more than 5 billion bid requests. Huge scale, unimaginable scale, and opportunity for you to grow your user base. Let's briefly recap. We spoke about the messy open internet ecosystem and the complexities and how we're adding an SDK to simplify things. We spoke about the fact that there's no such thing as inventory, and it's not about the uniqueness of your inventory, but about how you make sense of that. And for that, you need advanced machine learning. Now, I could talk about this for hours, but I want to bring this all to life with 2 customer stories. Let's start off with Effie from Playtika. Please welcome him on stage. Effie is responsible for privacy and attribution at Playtika. Come on out.
Thank you, Ben.
Thank you, Effie.
Hey, everyone. My name is Effie, and I'm a product manager in Playtika. Playtika is one of the leading gaming companies in the industry. With more than 9 titles, out of the top 100 downloaded within the US. We have more than 3,000 employees and a very versatile marketing portfolio. Our marketing activity is being managed by more than 100 people in a dedicated marketing department. And as a product manager in this team, what we do is look at this portfolio and building the right solutions to our users and help them to maximize the performance results. When I'm talking about our users, this could be the management team, which for them we can build reports and help them to take high-level decisions, but also the media buyers, the campaign managers, the people that actually perform the campaign optimization process. For them, we can build AI-based solutions that help them to maximize ROI, reports, features, tools, and also to work on how we display the data in the right way. But in Playtika, we do believe in internal developments, but sometimes we understand that we are facing some challenges that we cannot handle ourselves. And I'm going to share with you some of the challenges and how a great partnership with Moloco helped us to shift it from a challenge into a success story over the open internet. So, as Ben mentioned before, the open internet is a complex field. It's full of details, a lot of technicalities inside, but once you understand it, and once you know the details, you can actually understand the potential and the value that you can get as an advertiser. I'm going to share with you 3 main challenges that we've been facing and how we handle that with Moloco. The first one was the approach. Like, what we are going to do when buying on the open internet versus what we do with the walled gardens. And I'm saying that because with the walled gardens, we have a very strict guidelines in terms of creatives. We are limited in terms of attribution. We have scan only for iOS, and they have their own regulations as well. So that's the challenge. The second one, that's the geo-targeting. We wanted to see scale coming up, not only from Tier 1 and the US countries. We wanted to see the scale coming from additional geos, and that's because we know the challenge of our users every time to perform the optimization manually from the campaign settings. And third, that's the measurement. We wanted to know how actually we understand the impact. How we know that what we measure and the action that we did actually brought a value to our business. The numbers that you can see behind me actually represent the growth that we did with Moloco since 2022. At the beginning, we've been in around 15, 20 geos in total. But right now, we're standing on more than 120 countries. And in terms of performance, we managed to get more than 1.8 million installs. And I call it valuable installs. And I'm saying valuable installs because these installs are coming from purchase and ROAS campaigns. And in terms of measurement, that's a challenge by itself. And I can speak about measurement for like an hour. But I would like to share with you a specific use case that we did with Moloco for iOS for scan attribution, which is impressive in my eyes. We all know about the discrepancies when we are analyzing scan data. We know that the numbers are actually different between what we see over the probabilistic attribution and over the scan attribution. In Playtika, we do believe in scan. We do believe in privacy-oriented solutions for the future of the attribution. But we cannot really optimize and use any benchmark when we use the 2 source of truths. So what we did, we actually designed a specific activity with Moloco to target only publishers that support scan signature. And this way, we could actually get the data coming in from the probabilistic attribution and use it as a benchmark when we try to optimize our performance over the scan reporting. Now, I'm saying that, and my message here is that when you have a partner, you need to trust your partner. You need to encourage your teams to adopt new technologies. You need to help them. You need to take risks sometimes. But you always have to be focused on the value and what's the extra that you can get to your business. Thank you for listening. And I would like to welcome to stage Gianna. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. I'm Gianna. I am a planning director at MFG, servicing Google, specifically the Google Search app for iOS. I'm super excited to be here today to chat about not only the campaign success that we've seen in partnering with Moloco, but also the additional benefits that we've seen specifically from their agency partnership program. MFG was extremely fortunate to be onboarded to this partnership program relatively early. It's been key in educating us on the complex environment that is the open internet space, and especially key in helping us address some of the key challenges that we see in working with or servicing Google specifically. The first is that we are approaching this partnership with a privacy-first lens, so taking that privacy-centric approach that, as Ben had mentioned, the MLs consistently thrive off of plentiful data for complex decision-making, and servicing Google, we are very limited in the data that we are able to pass back. Secondarily, we are not integrated with an MMP, so that scan data is our true North Star. We needed to ensure that we were able to optimize towards scan-only data and report out on scan as our true source of measurement. Given these few hurdles, Moloco was able to give us the confidence to get a campaign off the ground. I'll be honest, my expectations were still relatively low. As I chat through the results right now, you'll see we did remain patient the first few weeks of the campaign. We knew the ML needed a bit of time to adjust, and you'll see at that 2-week mark, our CPIs really started to level out, as Moloco assured us that they would, and that install volume began to skyrocket. Secondarily, based on these initial great results, we were able to actually funnel more budget, make a case with clients to funnel more budget towards the campaign, and therefore, you'll see at about that halfway mark that our install volume continued to skyrocket as well. At that 70-day mark, we had essentially 20x our total conversions. This has put us on a very exciting road for 2024, including taking our campaign to a global perspective, expanding to 5 new markets, as well as testing against a very robust creative testing agenda, creative testing learning agenda per our client's request. So aside from really hitting on that scaling and efficiency, we've also been able to get additional, audience and creative insights based on education from their agency partnership program. So big things in 2023, even bigger things to come in 2024. I'm very grateful to be here sharing these great results, ideal results from partnering with Moloco, and I'll pass it back to Ben to finish it off.
Thank you, Gianna. I wanted to briefly thank Effie and Gianna for sharing their success stories. And if you want to come and meet us and talk to us, we have a booth at 303, and we have a cabana, and we'd be more than happy to figure out how we can help you grow your businesses and your games together. Thank you so much.